Welcome, everyone,
Well, damn.
to the new Metroid. Okay, penultimate Metroid experience at the moment, and the sequel to Metroid 1, Zero Mission, technically.
Yep, welcome to Metroid Samus Returns for the Nintendo 3DS.
Ooh. Yep.
Honestly, probably one of the best games
Go ahead.
in the series.
This was a huge remastering of the and crackles. I'll fix those later. This was a remastering of the Game Boy original Metroid 2: Return of Samus,
And also
that
the
nobody ever fucking played.
And Nintendo's very cleverly crafted excuse as to why they took down another Metroid 2 remake.
Right. So apparently there is. So again, when all the crap that happened on Zebes in Zero Mission, Zebes, thank you, led to the
Zebes, you uncultured swine.
How dare you?
All the events on Zebes led to the discovery of Metroid as a species. This also then led us to the discovery of a planet that actually is the home world of the Metroids, SR388.
I'm not gonna. Sorry, I'll let you finish.
And the Galactic Federation, after sending Samus in to destroy Mother Brain and her space.
I like how that's
hooligans,
what the platform looks like that we had to stand on.
Just a floaty little tube.
It truly is amazing they kept to that detail.
So regardless, now that we learned that the space pirates could use the Metroids, the Galactic Federation was like, crap, we can't let them do that anymore. We're gonna send in a troop of elite soldiers onto SR388, and basically our plan is we need to either detain or eliminate the Metroid threat so that it can't be used against us anymore, like what Mother Brain tried to do.
Because it's the Galactic Federation, they fuck up and all their men are dead. So
like,
they send
Not
us.
yet. Not yet. So far, we don't know that yet. Right now, we know that there is a substantial amount of Metroids on the planet, at least 40 of them. So everybody at the Galactic Federation Council, who is entirely trustworthy, immediately came to a decision: we gotta exterminate them all because our scouting troops have not returned back.
Also, I love how the guy in the middle there is just like, yes, I am totally trustworthy. I don't look like a cross between...
You don't even know his name. Shut up. He's not gonna be a big threat. You're fine.
Yes.
So...
I guess I'll just shut
who
the
knows?
fuck up then.
You're fine.
I don't know. I didn't mean to get so sassy. Just give the Galactic Federation a chance. It's the first couple games. They're still kind of okay.
They did nothing to you. They are perfectly fine people that happen to be in there, that pay their taxes and treat their children well.
So in any case, welcome to Planet SR388, the home world of the Metroid.
Look, I'm sorry. If you give
James.
I apologize. I really do. I love the Metroid franchise. I even love the lore. But if you're playing a Metroid game to give a shit about the story, you are playing a Metroid game for the wrong fucking reasons.
Duly noted. Now I'm going to have to claim vocal superiority for the next 30 seconds to explain. Welcome
To Samus
This is
Returns.
This is the top screen of the 3DS. Usually, the bottom screen will be showing you your map and all your other important HUD icons, health, weapons, equipped weapon, other such trackers. But I couldn't find a really concise way to show both screens at the same time, so I decided to MacGyver this construct.
Hello.
This took me way too damn long to put together, but effectively, this now is combining enough of the information of the bottom screen onto the top screen as well, so we can kind of simulate what it would have looked like if they ever tried to put this on the Switch.
And
Which,
honestly,
just saying, would be nice if they ever did.
And honestly, just from the work in progress shots you've shown us so far, I really commend you for having to put up with this kind of editing throughout the entirety of the game. It's really awesome, man.
Aw, I just hope that I just hope that works. We're not gonna.
I would
I'm not
commend
gonna
you
be
too,
gushing
but I
out the
feel
entire
like
time.
I would commend you too, but I feel like nobody gives a shit.
So long as you don't try and say, I commend you, unlike that Galactic Federation, then I
I'm
would be
sorry,
okay with
but
accepting
fuck
the
the
compliment.
Galactic Federation.
Yes, but we will fuck them
Oop.
when it is plot relevant to do so.
It's a Metroid game! Who cares for plot? Also, hi,
no.
Dead Man.
Yeah,
Also-
the troops didn't get too far.
Also, Logan, I'm not quite sure if we can really get away with that because the series hasn't reached M ratings yet.
Uh-oh.
So first off, new to Samus Returns, we have ourselves a melee counter ability.
I'm
Just,
gonna reach you!
Press the X button to use a
the hell?
melee counter, which will stun enemies and then leave them open to a heavy counterattack if you fire immediately afterwards.
I both love and hate the melee counter in this game. Love it in the fact that it is a neat and pretty fast-paced little means to take out enemy threats. kind of hated
Oh,
the fact that you're going to be using this for about a good 85% of the game.
The game definitely has a bit of an over-reliance. Like, every enemy, like, it pretty much becomes your one-stop shop way to stop anyone.
It's why I'm excited for... because, you know what, by the time we're playing this, it'll be out, Dread.
Yes.
I am excited for Dread because it looks like it's not going to have that much of an over-reliance on the melee counter, and also they fixed it so that you can do it on the go instead of it being a very stop and do thing.
Yeah. Also, as far as I'm aware, when using it in on the move, I do believe it also actually does damage as opposed to outright stun an enemy. So in some way, it's kind of like a nifty little something in case you want to get by the little grunts.
Yeah.
I can't reach there. All right, missile door. But yeah, so so these games are brought to us by Mercury Steam, a third-party developer that Nintendo partnered with to create this game, and now are the ones entrusted with Metroid Dread.
Yep. Previously, the Spanish developer were primarily known for the Lords of Shadow spin-off of the Castlevania series, a series in which I commend the effort of making, though I always felt very mixed on them.
Sorry,
yes.
you say it.
No, you go ahead.
The first game was fine. The other two games were very because the first game kind of did feel like let's be fair, it was partially also made by Hideo. The first game was partially made by Hideo Kojima, so and it has a bunch of Kojima-isms to it, and that first game is fine. The other two just feel at most.
So I'm also going to throw this out there and say that probably one of my deepest regrets with this game and how I play it is... I didn't start figuring this out until a little bit later into my recordings. I discovered this in two parts. Number one is I discovered that with Citra, which is, yes, how I'm recording this, but we own the game, with Citra, you can actually map buttons to particular touch inputs and, like, X and Y coordinates on the screen. So, first off, just saying... The only way that this custom HUD of mine works is because the bottom screen, like, almost rarely moves or changes. Like, it's all very static, very easy to show off, and... Man, now this is something that I'll admit, there are times where I almost wonder if they took ideas from another Metroid 2 remake, because I don't recall there actually being, like, a centralized, like, hub thingy like this in the original.
There wasn't. Though that being said, this isn't exactly like how, what was it? Another Metroid 2 remake handled it, and that,
for the sake of this... Another Metroid 2 is AM2, what is it?
AM2R.
Yeah, AM2R, thank you.
So,
continue, James.
So AM2R more or less bullshit their way in saying that the Metroid's life signal was tied to the SR3D8's geometry, hence why there would be the occasional tremor that opens up more of the world to you. For the sake of this game, what they entail is that little golden doohickey we saw earlier is pretty much a gateway to the bottom portions of the planet, and the only way to activate it and drain more of that purple liquid that is very much poisonous to us, you gotta kill them. You gotta kill the Metroids and gather their DNA. Also, hello, new Aeon abilities.
Yep, to help us in our quest, a new addition to this Metroid series, which apparently will be returning in Dread, is the Aeon abilities and Aeon Energy.
And Aeon in Dread looks like it's going to be handled much better, not going to lie.
So, Aeon is
I'm not going to give too much crap to another Metroid 2 remake, because I do think one of the first ability you do get is super freaking handy. The Scan Pulse, which basically lets you scan a portion of the map.
Okay.
Also, this is not another Metroid 2 remake. This is just Samus Returns.
Samus Returns. My bad.
Yeah, no.
Is it bad that is it wrong that we sometimes mix the two together?
It's okay. So the Scan Pulse will show off breakable blocks,
however,
and also reveal a little bit of the map.
You see that little bar there? That is our Aeon meter. We have to get those little yellow bits. Thankfully, in Dread, that meter just refills. Apparently, over time, it just refills.
Not that it means an awful lot, though, considering that enemies drop those yellow bits pretty frequently.
I would say, yeah, and there are ways to expand upon it, like they have energy tanks of sorts for Aeon Energy.
But
I think that you will only be running out of Aeon Energy if you are using a lot of your heavily drained abilities, like all at once. Oh, hang on, the Metroid scanner is blinking.
My Metroid senses are tingling.
Aw, little frog toad.
How pretty.
Oh boy.
Yo!
Nom 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 nom.
That
nom.
thing's going to be abused in cutscenes a lot, by the way.
I mean, they are pretty much the fodder of SR388. So can you blame them?
They're
Which
the
I suppose
Goombas.
which I suppose that some people have pointed out, oh, the amiibo option. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but I don't use it. I guess that's also something worth knowing that one complaint that I have seen brought up a couple times is that a complaint about Metroid 2 Samus Returns is that the enemy variety. Darn, I missed that one. I'll come back to that later. Is that the enemy variety is a little bit lacking. Like, this game will do the kind of thing where it's the same. You only really fight 2 to 3 types of enemies, and all that will change is throughout the area their colors will change, and that just means they're a little more fast or a little more like powerful, and that's it.
Not sure if it really means anything in the long run, because honestly, I barely even noticed the lack of enemy variety in this game. Because the primary focus of this game are the Metroids.
I want to ask, like, that notion of enemy variety, was that ever a case in the original version of Metroid 2?
I was actually going to say,
Go for it.
the whole thing with the enemy variety, people complain, oh, they're just reskinned versions of other enemies and all that. Yeah, it's a fucking Metroid game. They've been doing that since the first game. Have people just now noticed this?
I don't know. I'm not smart enough to be, talking about that right now.
Well, actually, you know what, though, Matt? It is funny you bring that up, though, because after the big, huzzah that Dread brought to the table, people have actually gone out of their way to experience the rest of the franchise, more or less in droves.
That's fair.
Thank
But
goodness. Now we just need to wait for Nintendo to make it easily available for them to do so.
You know they won't. Anyway.
Time will tell.
You know what, I just imagined that, like, Nintendo's just, I joked about it before, but until they do otherwise, I'm gonna keep joking about it. They're pretty much using this whole, like, Metroid resurgence as their way of saying, Wii U, looks like you finally have another chance.
Oh, we found our first Metroid.
Ooh.
Ah, fresh meat. Too bad we don't have our ice beams.
Oh, well, it looks like it died on us. Huh. I guess that's easy.
Because another big thing for this game. Turns out all this time, we've been fighting baby Metroids.
Yep.
They can evolve. And, I mean, the ironic thing is, even though they do evolve and they're a little more, for lack of a better word, ruthless, they're actually easier to take out.
They don't require ice beam, and you can do counters.
I loved how the missile jumped off of that one and just went ding.
Oh yeah, no. If you aim, if you fire missiles at things that are resilient to them, they'll just fly right off. So so there we go. Right away, 1 down, 39 to go.
Yep, and that's pretty much the main goal of the game. Get them all.
Pretty much. That is our main
gotta
goal.
Kill them all. Gotta kill them all. Metroidmon.
It's fucked up. So yeah, got ourselves our first energy tank. Good to go. Good in business. So I will also throw this out there right now and say, be cautious with this game and your health, because I'd also say that given a lot of the new platforming and the fact you can free aim, we didn't even talk about that crap. You can aim in more than 8 directions now. This game is, I would say, one of the hardest in the Metroid series if you just kind of like go casual.
A lot of fans actually do consider it the hardest.
Wow.
Which is honestly saying something, considering that this is probably the one other Metroid game I remember in recent memory not having a hard time really adjusting to.
Well, I
That's
think
fair. You're also experienced in your years.
Yeah.
You were saying, Steve?
No, he already brought it up.
That's fair.
Actually, now that I think about it, I think this is probably one of the only other Metroid games, if not the only Metroid game I even bothered to 100% complete.
But I definitely say that I think where people find the difficulty in this game is I definitely say it's one of the fastest paced Metroid games. Like with how things, with how fast things.
Oh yeah, no, it definitely can be. Like, probably not to the same extent as Zero Mission, because goddamn, that game is literally on crack the whole way through.
I beat that game in 2 hours, so.
Yeah. And I mean, and now that from what we've seen of Dread, that one looks like it might just very well dethrone this by a small margin.
God, the Emmy chasing, you're gonna have to be like on your A game with that platform.
Though that does remind me, going back a bit to the Spanish-based developer we were talking about earlier, Mercury Steam. I was a little unsure about this game's quality at first, considering that, again, with the Lords of Shadow series, they're not bad games by any stretch. And again, the first game definitely had its merits, but never was the biggest fan of those games, so hearing that they were pretty much handling this Metroid 2 remake had me a little, like, cautiously optimistic. But then I played it, and it's like, I was worried for nothing. They very much nailed this game with Nintendo's cooperation.
I think so too. I think it has that Nintendo level of detail and quality to it, and I think they've more than earned the I guess honor, if I was wanting to sound pretentious, of being able to finally continue the Metroid series.
I would say so. Like, it honestly feels not that dissimilar to how, like, Next Level Games pretty much has the honor of continuing Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah. Fair. I think that's fair, yeah.
And then, Retro has come back for, the Metroid Prime series, so I'm happy about that.
Which, you know what, it's funny thinking about it, because we're actually in that scenario where Nintendo's actually doing the right thing and postponing that game by giving us a full-on 2D Metroid game next. As opposed to how beforehand, before we got Samus Returns here, we had Federation Force, and before that, Other M.
Honestly, not going to lie, I feel like this game was an apology for Federation Force. Like, I get they're developing the two around the same time, and they came out around the same time, but it feels like Nintendo was like, shit, fuck, we don't have enough footage yet to reveal Metroid, this game yet. Fuck, we have to reveal Federation Force, but people will get angry at us, sir. Then we'll use this one as an apology. Fine.
Honest to God, in retrospect, but I do kind of feel like, oh, what's this?
Oh, this is something that you normally would not get unless you were, like, combing this area with a fine-tooth comb. We get to see, if you 100% collect all items in an area, you'll unlock these things called Chozo memories. So this first one shows the first ever embarkment of Chozo scientists and researchers arriving on SR-388 for the first time.
And Logan so cleverly included it during that little elevator sequence.
Yeah, so
yes,
I guess
I'll be doing. Yes, whenever we cross between areas, I'll be showing that off. Since the yeah, okay, sorry, this is actually a good time as any to talk about this. Sorry, Hype.
No, you were about to answer it anyway. Go ahead.
Since we set the precedent that we're not really too concerned about 100%, since there is a lot to do, and I will also throw this out there and say, I think the post game is one of the most sluggish parts of this game, and that's why I'm probably okay with skipping out on it.
Yeah, that's unfortunately been kind of an issue with the most recent Metroid games. Like they're 100%, like the journey for 100% completion is kind of a tedious one.
So I'm skipping out on that, and instead, basically, as far as I'm concerned, my mentality is, Samus, you're on a mission. You have no time to be going backwards. You are just going into the core of this planet, coming in and going out. And so we're not backtracking to any places. I'm just beelining for the end. But if there are any good important upgrades such as E-tanks along the way, then I'll get it. But I'm not gonna backpedal to another area. So welcome to Area 1. And yes, every time we move on to a new area, I'll be showing more of that Chozo lore of what happened here, because I would argue that more than any other game, it is very important to learn about that in this game.
Oh yeah,
considering what we know about Dread.
Yeah, like Dread, like that's the thing that we were all hoping for. That, well, Dread more or less confirmed. They are going to follow up on those Chozo memories.
Yep.
We're gonna figure out what happened. Let's see what's behind this red door.
Also,
that looks positively safe.
Also, really quick.
That's not safe!
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Yeah, there's lava areas everywhere now. Whew. Continue, Matt.
You were saying, so Steve, James was trying to say something, and then Steve, earlier.
Oh, about the show? Oh no, it was about the
Metroid Prime.
Yes, about Metroid Prime and the how happy we're to have a 2D game now.
All I was gonna say on the matter is that I would say the smarter thing they probably could have done was maybe put the forward focus on this first and then release Federation Force.
Well,
when,
the thing
is, faith in the Metroid franchise has more or less been restored.
This game came out a year after Federation Force, though. That's
right.
the thing.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, though. It's like I think they probably should have shifted their priority in development to this game first, then do Federation Force afterwards. Because again, that was like the big problem that everyone had with Federation Force, is that it isn't even so much the game in and of itself, just the fact that it came at a pretty. It came out pretty. The timing was poor.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, the big thing about Nintendo is the fact that 2016 was literally one of their worst years. Ever.
Oh, yeah. And another thing to know about our HUD is that if you ever see the Metroid blipper, the Metroid scanner going off the charts in the bottom, that means there's a Metroid nearby.
And then Steve,
so,
was trying to say something earlier.
So I believe these are called the Alpha. Also, I believe these are called the Alpha Metroids.
And honestly, I was, but honestly, it kind of feels like that point where everything I was about to say basically is redundant. Well, because I was just about to ask something that Logan already ended up answering.
Sorry. I will say that...
Also, these things
Get out of here. Yes, they do. No, be very cautious about any Metroid fight. This game, the original Metroid 2 only really had one boss battle. This one adds two. We'll talk about why and where yet. The idea being that basically every Metroid fight was in and of itself like a mini-boss you had to fight.
Right, and actually it's funny we bring that up because let's not kid ourselves on the matter. The game claims it's a Metroid 2 remake, and it very much is in terms of its plot, its overall plot and goal. But if you were to compare the two, they're almost two separate games, like completely.
I think you were talking about how at one point we were considering doing a look at of the original Metroid 2 just to show how like night and day it is.
Yeah, and actually, speaking of that, I was originally going to be the one to handle Samus Returns. Only thing is that
it's not good.
Citra kind of well. Let's just say that Citra has it kind of weird with Samus Returns in that it kind of glitches out if you're using integrated graphics, and I'm using a computer that unfortunately has to settle with integrated graphics anyway, so there was no way in hell I was going to be able to run this without the occasional shutdown.
Which is okay, because it gave me the chance to experience this and no bombs.
It also gave Logan the chance to literally flex his editing muscles.
Hooray! God, I hate myself. So, I will say that the other big thing I was going to say is that the thing I regret now knowing is, now that I know that you can actually map button inputs to particular X coordinates on the screen, one mechanic with the morph ball is that you can either, turn into morph ball by, crouching twice as you normally would, or if you just touch the touch screen any old place on the map, you'll just instantly go into morph ball mode. And as I learned later, as I was like nearing the end of my post-recording, I was like, crap, I could have like really flexed and done some really cool moves if I had the ability to just have a morph ball button at all point in time. But yeah, so for now, I'm most likely going to just be doing the old crouch, and I'll be doing all robotic morph balling. But
I mean, in a way, you could all sort of argue that you're playing the game legitimately.
Fine, fair. But yes, again, thank you all for joining us on this part. Again, definitely going to be going for the whole Samus Returns story, because boy or howdy am I excited that Dread is finally a thing, and as of this video being released, will have been a thing.
Well, we'll see what happens. Considering how packed our lineup is, I might just end up having to make this a nighttime release.
Fingers crossed, Dread is good. Please be good.
Oh, I'm sure it'll be good. Let's just hope it ends up being the best.
Oh boy. Alright, stay tuned.
Till next time, everybody.
Bye.